Next up, let's take a peek at our steering wheel. So we're going to start off along our left-hand side here. So starting off, these buttons. This one is going to be the cancel for the cruise control. This is going to turn cruise control on or off. As you can see, that has come on. It's now set. Pressing that again will turn it off. Once you're at the speed that you'd like, you're either going to move up or down, and that's going to lock you into place at your current speed. Moving this stick up is going to increase, and down is going to decrease you 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time. You can reset the speed, so if you had to hit the brake, it'll pull you back up to speed, or you can cancel out the speed that you've got. Moving down here, we've got the ability to either increase or decrease the volume here, or you can mute the audio by pressing this button. Moving along to our right-hand side, a few buttons here. So we've got our back button, our up and down, okay, and then menu. Taking a look at the screen as I move this up and down, it's going to change us between a couple different options. Starting off, let's go to the very top here. So we've got our trip 1, we've got trip 2 counter also. In order to reset our trip values, we're just going to press and hold this OK button. And that's reset the values for us, very straightforward. Pressing our menu button, we can now switch to our trip 2, we can reset all values, or we can change the look of it. Moving down, we've got our digital speedometer. Pressing this button, it also gives us the ability for the trip audio, fuel economy, digital speedometer, so it really is a matter of personal preference what shows up there. Moving down, and next up is our driver assist. So the driver assist is a really neat one. So if we take a peek on the left-hand side, so this left stick, we can press that button in, and that's going to turn the driver assist settings, so the lane keeping system, on or off. So we know the lane keeping system's on when this appears. Moving into our settings, there are now some options here. So driver assist settings, we've got tons of choices. Traction control, we can turn that on or off. Blind spot system, we can turn that system on or off. The blind spot is going to be this little guy. So it's going to highlight orange if somebody's entered into our blind spot on either side of the vehicle. Pre-collision assist, I do recommend keeping that one turned on. And the reason why is because if the vehicle senses a potential collision, it's going to actively brake for us. So it's going to help us either completely eliminate that or avoid that collision, or it's going to minimize the impact. So always make sure you keep that one on. Our lane keeping system, we do have a couple different options. When we look at the mode, we've got alert, the alert and the aid, or just the aid. So a few options. The alert is going to be a shake on the steering wheel. So if we start to veer over into a lane without signaling, we'll get a little shake. The best way for me to describe it, imagine going over that rumble pavement. That's going to be what that feeling is. When it comes to the aid, that's going to recenter us and pull us back into our lane, or we can do the alert and the aid. So it's a matter of personal preference there. When it comes to intensity, is how intense is that steering wheel shake? And let's jump back and back one more time. And some more driver assistance settings. That driver alert, the driver alert is going to be tied into the lane keeping system. So if you get one too many alerts, it's going to, one too many times where you've veered over into a lane without signaling, you're going to get an alert saying that you should probably rest. Cross traffic alert if a vehicle's coming perpendicular, so from our left or our right hand side, whether we see the vehicle or not, we're going to get a warning letting us know of a potential collision. So I do recommend keeping that one turned on as well. Moving back, I can move down a little bit. We've got our FM settings. If our phone was connected, it would show up there. And we've got some generic settings also. So moving into our settings, we've got some basic information settings. And starting, let's go to the top here. So seatbelts. What seatbelts are currently engaged. Auto start stop, so it's been deactivated, and I know it's been deactivated because if we look here, so if we press that, it's going to turn that system back on, and moving up, as you can see, it's been activated by us, so it's activated and it's working as normal. Pressing back, we can then jump into our driver alert. So as you can see, we've got a little counter here. So if we start to veer over into other lanes without signaling, once that counter is full, it's going to let us know that we should probably rest. My key, very straightforward. You've got the ability to set up a key fob to have certain limitations. One of those limitations, an example, would be the vehicle can only go up to a certain speed. That one is a matter of personal preference. Tire pressure shows us what the active tire pressure is on the vehicle. And then moving down, we've got the ability to reset our oil counter there. Display, we've got some options, so we can again change between our language, so English, Spanish, or French. Measurements, either liters. Let's drop down. Measurements, liters per 100, kilometers per liter, or miles per gallon. Temperature, obviously Celsius or Fahrenheit. Tire pressure measurements, PSI, K-bar, etc. And then driver assistance is where we've already been in there. Some basic vehicle settings. Looking at our lighting, so auto lamp delay, so when the vehicle's locked, how long do those outside lights stay on for? 10, 20, or 120 seconds? Moving down into our locks, so auto unlock, feedback, mislock chirp, so if it doesn't lock properly, and then remote unlock. When we unlock the vehicle, do all doors go unlocked, or is it just the driver's door? So it's a matter of personal preference there. Next up is going to be remote start. So with this specific vehicle, it doesn't have remote start from the factory, but we can add it in. So we can turn that system on or off. The system is going to be in there, it's installed, so you can do it aftermarket in order to be able to take advantage of it. We can permanently turn it on or off from there. When we remote start, what happens? With climate, is it going to automatically let the vehicle decide what the cabin temperature should be, or is it going to take our last setting? And then from there, duration. So how long does the remote start last for? 5, 10, or 15 minutes? And then wipers, we've got the ability to have a courtesy wipe, and then we can turn that reverse wiper on or off. So while we're on the reverse wiper, so on our right stick, on the very, very tip, so this one here is going to let us control that rear window wiper. Moving back, and that is all for our vehicle. And the My Key, this is where we would go in order to be able to set up that individual key. So if you wanted to limit the speed or certain functions, you would go to that screen in order to set up My Key. And that's going to be the basics of this middle screen here. Let's move back a tiny little bit. Other things to point out are obviously going to be our sticks. So we've got our blinkers there. We're going to pull in or push out in order to be able to turn the high beams on or off. We've got the ability to select how much windshield wiper fluid comes out. And we're going to pull in towards us in order to use the front windshield wiper, or we're going to push away for the rear.